This is about you, and you want to make it about you. So don't ever be shy about that. Don't ever feel like you're bothering whichever program you're working with. So understand sort of your rights and expectations. Establish early on, who are you communicating with? How are you communicating? What if you have questions? Who do we reach out to? So again, it's about really doing your due diligence and finding out whomever your team members are, what is it that they're going to offer you? How are they going to help you through that process? And I know a lot of questions people always have is about time. How long will it take? And cost, of course, which is huge. And there's such a variety out there. And also insurance. Those are the big questions I get all the time. So in terms of time, the time from the time you start till you have a surrogate to work with, what does that look like? What's happening during that time frame? Who do we talk to? How do we get questions asked? Why is the wait so long? Those are questions you want to be asking. Or if somebody is saying the wait is short, honestly, I would want to know, why is it so short? Because the demand is less now, I'm always curious when people say they can match you right away, or it's 3 months. To me, that's a very short amount of time these days. So you want to ask those deep questions. And don't ever be shy about that. And if you're not getting answers, then there's already an issue going on there. This should be a transparent process. Again, it's about communication at the core. And I will tell you, it's based on trust. It's based on trust with whomever is helping you. It's based on trust with that surrogate that you eventually meet, this incredible woman that's going to help you have a baby. You want to trust her, and she wants to trust you too. So it's a two-way street. And how are we going to get there is so critical to understanding this process. So you're entitled to ask those questions from the beginning. You're going to have questions throughout the process, and never be shy about that. But at the very start, you really want to know what to expect at the start. How are we going to get there from point A to coming home with our baby? How do we get there? The whole thing, somebody said to me recently, this is the most straightforward, complex process, which is true. If you know what you're doing and you're being guided by the right team members, it should be straightforward for someone like myself, because that's why you come to someone like myself. But of course it's complicated, and that's what, the experience in the field gives you. It gives you that time for us to have developed what's going to help you best arrive to where you're going to get to. How interactive is the program with your fertility center? Have they worked with your fertility center before? Do they know what right questions to ask your fertility center? Do they know what your fertility center's matching criteria are? Again, it goes back to my question that you want to ask. What does your matching process look like? How are you getting there? And what are you checking? Because we want to make sure, the ideal is that once you are matched with somebody, whatever that program calls a match, once you're matched with that person, can we move forward quickly? Or are we going to get stuck in the mud somewhere because the mental health evaluation hasn't been done yet? Are we going to fall apart during contracts because it turns out nobody checked her insurance yet, and she doesn't have insurance, and that's going to be very costly? These are the kinds of things that hopefully the person you're talking to knows the answers to. You shouldn't have to think of all those questions, but for you guys doing this right now, you want to make sure you're asking every question you have going into it. There's always, going to be more questions. Sometimes there are surprises. The bumps I see are medical that we can't control for. But you don't want to end up in a situation that there are other bumps along the way that could have been avoided. So you want to ask about the experience of the program that you're working with, and how are they finding their surrogates? Where are they finding their surrogates? What is their criteria? What's important? Ask those questions early on. Insurance is a very big question. It's very complicated in the United States, and it's very volatile. It changes all the time. So this is something you want to find out from your program. Are they digging into insurance? When in the process do they dig into the insurance? Do they help you navigate that minefield of insurance in the US? And are they helping you with that and those questions every year? Because what is in place in 2019 might not be in place in 2020. There are some very big questions you want to ask if the program is asking you and the surrogate about in the matching process. One has to do with location and what's important to you. The other question that's still critical is around termination of a pregnancy. even though we don't expect there to be an issue, we never want there to be one. So that needs to be part of a critical conversation with you in the program so that you're being matched with someone that philosophically is on the same page that you are. The other thing is expenses and fees vary greatly. You want to be able to compare apples to apples. What exactly, is each team member, each provider giving you? What's missing? What are the added costs? Are there any? Are there any hidden costs? I've heard that from some people. Again, it's about digging in. It really shouldn't be that complicated to understand the program and providers you're working with. So if you feel that you're lost in different fees and expenses that don't make sense, to me, that's not that program being transparent. You want that transparency and openness so that you can succeed. And to me, too, it's about making sure this is smooth for everybody. It's not just for the intended parents. It's not just for the surrogate. It's about that partnership and making sure we can help you succeed along the way, every step of the way, together as partners with your fertility center. I only have a short amount of time with you guys. I don't know if somebody has any quick questions, but I want to say thank you, and I appreciate your time, and I'm going to stay a little bit so you can ask any questions that you have. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much for the presentation.
I know that was really quick. They, have 8 minutes.
I'm seeing, because I'm new to this, two business models in this industry where you have some organizations that are doing the IVF and donor and surrogacy piece and outsourcing legal, and others that do the surrogacy and legal piece and they ask you to open a fertility clinic. Where do you sit in that spectrum, and what explains that difference?
So, here's the, go ahead.
Just we're trying to look at comps, right? There's on pricing, there's huge variation.
I know.
The list in the back, like the only other Maryland agency is about $40,000 more for your reported life cycle journey than is reported on your agency. What explains a 40% variation in cost?
So if you have to kick us out, let us know. I was just going to answer this question.
Yeah, I think after your answer, I think.
Okay, great. So one thing I will tell you is I can answer from my perspective because I'm not working in those other programs. I think it comes down, it's hard for me to say exactly. Anecdotally, from what I've heard from other people, we have a set amount that you're going to pay us. We are an all-service, if you will, that you said. I'm an attorney running a program. I represent the parents, so there's no match fee and there's no contract fee. You're going to know everything up front. Other programs may charge a base amount and added amounts if you want X, Y, or Z. Some offer extra concierge services. You would have to ask, what is that? Do you need that? I don't want to speak to yes or no because, I'm here to give you general information, but you have to really dig into, do I need those added services or not, or why would I? So that's one piece of it. And so some attorneys like myself run a full program. I'm really an attorney that helps intended parents and surrogates manage this process, going through it smoothly together with your fertility center. So you don't need anybody else. And I work with social workers and psychologists around the country, other attorneys around the country. So some other programs might be doing this in pieces. I can tell you from my perspective, it's probably easier for all of you to not have so many people involved in the process. That's my perspective, and it's the best practices I have found over all the years of doing this. Agencies are not regulated in this country. I work very hard with other attorneys to regulate, and that's a whole nother conversation, what's happening in New York. But you have to just be really careful and do your due diligence and find out truly, he's going to shut me up, so that's your phone, to find out truly what is it exactly that they're helping you with and what they're not. And I'm happy to answer more questions outside.